What will it feel like the moment you enter Jannah?
Wow, yeah, that's the ultimate question, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, just picture it. You've survived the terrifying, exhausting events of the day of resurrection.
Right.
The overwhelming physical and spiritual toll of the judgment is entirely behind you. You've crossed the bridge. And now you're standing in front of a literal threshold, the defining moment of an eternal existence.
It is the ultimate transition, the exact second where, everything you have ever endured finally makes sense.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're crossing that threshold together. We're going to use the incredibly vivid descriptions from the Qur'an and the Sunnah, not just as a map, but, well, as a sensory experience.
Yeah, we really want to explore the ultimate promise of paradise and what it actually means for the human soul to finally, truly be at rest.
Exactly.
And to really grasp this, we have to establish a foundational framework first. The texts tell us very clearly that no human mind can truly, fully comprehend the hidden joys that Allah has prepared.
Right, it's beyond our earthly scope.
Completely. The reality we're talking about exists entirely outside our current dimensions of physics, biology, and time. But the descriptions given to us in the sources, the rivers, the garments, the shade, these aren't just poetic metaphors.
They're tangible glimpses.
Yes, profound, tangible glimpses. They are given to us so we can understand the feeling of those promises and how they engineer a state of absolute, unbreakable peace.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start right at those gates. The approach. You're walking up to Jannah in a group of the pious. And from what I understand, this isn't a situation where you just wander into an open field.
Not at all. It is a highly anticipated royal reception. The gates of Jannah do not just sit open idly. They are specifically open for your arrival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the keepers of the gates, the angels who've been waiting for this exact moment, receive you. And they don't just wave you in, they offer a very specific greeting of absolute relief.
What do they say?
They say, Salaman alaikum, peace be upon you, you have done well, so enter here to abide therein.
You have done well. Want to really sit with that phrase for a second. Think about the psychology of that.
It's heavy.
It is. Because, when you come home from work on Earth, you unlock your front door, you step inside, the door clicks shut behind you, and you drop your bags. It's a great feeling.
The best feeling, honestly.
But when you lock your front door on Earth, your brain is still running like a dozen background tabs of human anxiety.
Oh, for sure.
You're still thinking about the rent, the emails you didn't answer, a doctor's appointment, the fact that you have to wake up and do it all again tomorrow.
Earthly rest is always temporary. It's really just a pause button.
Exactly. But stepping through the gates of Jannah is like having every single one of those anxious background tabs permanently force quit.
That's a perfect way to put it.
The true miracle of that moment isn't just the incredible architecture of the gates, it's that the psychological burden of simply being human vanishes.
And the texts explicitly describe this emotional shift. It is an active removal. The dwellers actually say, praise to Allah who has removed from us all sorrow. All sorrow.
All of it. The anxiety of the future, the regrets of the past, the trauma, the fear, it is stripped away instantly. It's not that you just forget your earthly struggles, it's that the emotional weight of them can no longer touch you. You are completely immunized against grief.
Which makes perfect sense because once that immense emotional gravity is lifted, you immediately notice a profound change in your physical self, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're no longer weighed down by the fragile, high-maintenance biology of this world.
The physical transformation is breathtaking. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, described the first group entering Jannah as having faces shining like the full moon.
Beautiful.
And the group that follows them shines like the most brilliant star in the sky. There is a literal, visible radiance. The internal purity manifests outwardly.
And they possess unfading youth, which is such a wild concept for us because on Earth, our biology is basically in a constant state of decay.
Yeah, unfortunately. From the moment we're born, time is just a process of wearing down.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend so much money and energy just trying to slow down the inevitable.
But in Jannah, time does not erode you. Your youth never passes away. And it extends to everything around you. Even your clothes never wear out.
That sounds amazing.
The sources describe the dwellers being draped in these magnificent garments of fine, thick green silk woven with intricate gold embroidery, and they're adorned with beautiful bracelets made of gold, silver, and pearls.
It's the absolute pinnacle of luxury.
It is, but more importantly, it represents a state of perpetual newness.
It's absolute purity. There is no sickness, there is no physical pain. And I have to admit, on a very practical level, the detail that really blew my mind was the complete absence of bodily waste.
Yeah, that's a big one.
No urination, no defecation, no spit, no phlegm. I mean, the theological implications are profound, but honestly, the idea of never having to scrub a dish or deal with plumbing ever again sounds like its own personal paradise.
It's a deeply relatable relief. I mean, it removes all the indignities of human biology.
But this naturally raises a question. If we are eating and drinking in Jannah, and the sources make it incredibly clear that immense feasts and drinks are a huge part of the reward, how does that actually work?
Right.
If there is zero waste, where does all the food go?
It's a brilliant question, and the Prophet's companions actually asked him the exact same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his explanation completely redefines how we understand consumption. In this world, we eat primarily for fuel, and the byproduct is waste. In Jannah, you eat purely for delight.
Okay.
The food and drink exit the body not as waste, but as a subtle, incredibly fragrant sweat, and through a gentle belching.
Wait, sweat and belching?
Yes, but this sweat and breath smell purely of musk, which is described as the absolute finest, most beautiful perfume.
That is just incredible biological engineering. It takes the concept of consumption, which on Earth always produces something unclean or requires maintenance, and turns it into something that literally makes you smell more beautiful.
Exactly.
You go from a biology of decay management to a biology of perpetual fragrance.
And that transition is crucial for the next step of the journey because, you know, that level of biological and physical perfection would feel totally out of place in a flawed, decaying world.
That makes sense.
A perfectly pure body requires an equally pure, magnificent environment to sustain and entertain it. Which brings us to the actual geography of Jannah.
Right, so you step out into the landscape,
Yeah.
You're glowing, you feel zero anxiety, you're wearing unfading silk. What are you actually looking at?
You are looking at vast, unimaginable gardens, valleys of perfect shade and light, and towering above it all are specific, magnificent trees.
Tuba tree, right?
Yes, the text heavily featured the tuba tree. To give you a sense of its scale, the prophet said that a writer could travel in the shade of the tuba tree for 100 years and still not traverse it.
100 years.
Yeah.
Just to cross the shade of one tree.
Just the shade.
That scale completely shatters our claustrophobic earthly metrics.
It really does. It conveys an absolute abundance of space. On Earth, you know, prime real estate is scarce. Beautiful places are incredibly crowded.
Oh, true.
The 100-year shade tells you that there is infinite room to breathe, to explore, to exist without ever feeling confined. And here's a fascinating, intimate detail.
What's that?
The very garments of the dwellers, those beautiful green silks we mentioned, they're actually crafted from the blooming shoots of the tuba tree.
Wait, the clothes grow from the tree?
Yes. The environment itself organically produces your adornment.
That is stunning. And running through this massive, perfectly shaded landscape are the rivers. The sources don't just say there is water, right?
Yeah.
They list 4 very specific types of rivers.
Yes, very specific.
Rivers of water that never stagnate or change in smell. Rivers of milk whose taste never ever spoils. Rivers of clarified pure honey. And rivers of wine.
And the choices of those 4 liquids are deeply intentional. Think about the 7th century Arabian context where these revelations first arrive, and honestly, even our context today.
Right.
Pure, unspoilable water and honey represented the absolute pinnacle of rarity, sustenance, and luxury. Earthly milk goes sour, earthly water grows stagnant algae.
It all requires so much upkeep.
Exactly. By saying these rivers never change, it's an assurance of infinite, unspoilable abundance for things that are painstakingly finite and fragile on Earth.
I get the water, the milk, and the honey, but I'm getting tripped up on the rivers of wine.
I was waiting for that.
Honestly, from an earthly perspective, wine is synonymous with losing control. It causes intoxication, headaches, toxicity, terrible decisions.
Yeah.
It seems entirely at odds with a realm defined by absolute purity and clarity of mind. How does that fit in?
This is one of the most brilliant examples of how Jannah operates. It takes an earthly concept, isolates the positive attributes, and completely deletes the negative consequences.
Okay, how so?
The wine of Jannah is fundamentally different in its chemistry. The Qur'an describes it as pure, white, and exceptionally delicious to those who drink it, sealed with musk. But the key mechanism is that it offers absolute delight with zero ghoul.
Ghoul, meaning like the toxic after effect.
Exactly. Ghoul refers to the aching head, the abdominal pain, and the intoxication. In Jannah, there is absolutely no loss of intellect or dignity.
Oh, that's fascinating.
You experience only the pure, refined joy of the flavor in the drink, without any of the earthly hangover or regret. And beyond these massive rivers, there are distinct, curated springs, too.
Right, the texts mention specific names,
Yeah.
like Kafur and Tasnim.
Yes. Kafur is a spring of incredibly refreshing, cooling water. Tasnim is described as the most exalted drink reserved for those nearest to Allah.
And they're salsabil too, right?
Yes, salsabil, which is a gently flowing spring mixed with the warming taste of zanjabil or ginger. It means every single taste profile is curated, perfectly balanced, and endlessly satisfying.
But here's the thing. A perfect landscape, a beautiful 100-year shade, a perfect consequence-free meal, those things are really meant to be shared.
Absolutely.
You don't want to sit by a river of honey and experience all of this alone. And the sources make it abundantly clear that Jannah is a deeply, vibrantly social experience.
Highly social. You are never isolated unless you choose to be. The texts describe the dwellers reclining on raised thrones, facing one another. And remember that emotional shift we talked about at the gates?
The forced quitting of anxiety.
Yes, that comes into play here in a huge way. The Qur'an states that any sense of injury, malice, or resentment is completely removed from their breasts.
That is massive. Think about how much psychological energy we waste on Earth, just managing social dynamics.
It's exhausting.
The unspoken resentments, the jealousy, the fear of being judged, the miscommunications. To exist in a society with zero malice means absolute transparency.
Right.
You can look at someone and know with 100% certainty that they wish you nothing but the absolute best. The vulnerability and safety of that is just beautiful.
It is the purest form of brotherhood and joy, and it's on these raised thrones that the most beautiful reunions take place. Believers are reunited with their righteous spouses, their parents, their children.
That must be so emotional.
Families that were broken apart by death on earth are woven back together in a space where they know they will never, ever have to say goodbye again.
The texts also introduce the Hureen in these gatherings, correct?
Yes, the fair maidens of Jannah. They are a unique creation made specifically for paradise. The descriptions of them are striking. They are pure, virgin, with wide, beautiful eyes.
And there's that visual comparison in the Qur'an too.
Exactly, comparing their beauty to precious, untouched rubies, stunning coral, and preserved pearls hidden safely within their shells.
Why those specific gems, though? Rubies and pearls?
Because a pearl hidden in a shell is pristine. It is completely unaffected by the elements, by time, or by handling. It conveys a beauty that is protected, enduring, and of immensely high value.
It paints such a grand, majestic picture. But honestly, out of all these descriptions, the gems, the thrones, the rivers, do you know what I find to be the most deeply grounding, relatable detail in all of the sources?
What's that?
It's the actual conversations they have.
The reminiscing.
Yes. Even in paradise, literally wrapped in silk and drinking from rivers of honey, human beings still just love to catch up. They still love to tell stories.
So human.
It really is. The Qur'an actually quotes the dialogue they'll have with each other. They will recline on their thrones, look back at their past earthly lives, and say to one another, "Aforetime, we were afraid in the midst of our families, but Allah has been gracious to us."
They are validating their own earthly struggles from the finish line.
Exactly. I just think it is so beautifully human that they sit around and talk about the hard times. They reflect on the sicknesses, the poverty, the moments they were terrified.
Yeah.
They even look back and talk about the people who doubted them, the people who mocked them for believing that this exact day would ever come. They look from the absolute, unshakable safety of their thrones and say, "Look at what we survived. Look at what we were saved from."
And it makes the heavenly reward so much sweeter, because the contrast of their past earthly fear is still understood, even if it can no longer hurt them.
Right.
It anchors the eternal reward in the reality of their earthly patience. Every single tear, every moment they held their tongue, every sacrifice they made when no one was watching, it is all validated in those conversations.
But here is where things take a massive turn.
Yeah.
As unimaginable as the 100-year shade is, as beautiful as the reunions and the rivers of pure honey are, we haven't even talked about the climax of this journey. Because everything we just described, that's not even the peak.
No, it's not. Everything we have discussed so far, the youth, the landscape, the food, the company, that was essentially just the setting.
Just the baseline.
Right, it's the baseline of paradise. The true ultimate peak of the Jannah experience is something entirely different.
So what does that peak actually look like?
Well, when you read the sources describing this moment, the tone shifts dramatically. It becomes incredibly hushed and deeply reverent.
Okay.
The prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, explained that after the dwellers have entered Jannah, after they have settled in and experienced all these unbelievable mind-bending blessings, Allah, the Exalted, will speak directly to them.
Wow.
He will ask them a question. He'll say, do you want something that I can give you in addition to what I've already given you?
And you can just imagine the dwellers being almost bewildered by that question.
I would be.
Right. They are glowing. They're reunited with their families. They're sitting on thrones of gold. They ask, did you not whiten our faces? Did you not admit us into paradise and save us from the fire? From a human perspective, they're thinking, what could possibly conceptually be better than this?
And that is the exact moment the veil is removed.
The ultimate reward.
Yes. The ultimate reward in Jannah is not a physical object. It's not a larger river or a more elaborate garment. The ultimate reward is looking at the countenance of Allah.
Oh, wow.
The sources state definitively that the believers will not have been given anything in all of paradise that is more beloved to them than simply looking at their Lord.
It is the moment the soul finally truly sees its creator. The ultimate homecoming.
And there's a final, eternal promise that accompanies this profound moment. When they're looking at him, Allah will say to them, I will make incumbent upon you my good pleasure, so that I will never afterwards be angry with you.
I will never afterwards be angry with you. Just let the gravity of that sentence sink in.
It's overwhelming.
The psychological piece of that single guarantee is staggering. Think about our lives right now. In this world, we are constantly, fundamentally worried about messing up.
Constantly.
We're worried about disappointing our parents, failing our kids, and most deeply, we are constantly worried about falling short in the eyes of God. We live in a perpetual state of imposter syndrome and seeking forgiveness because we know we're flawed. We are always terrified of falling out of grace.
But in that single sentence, the striving is officially over. The spiritual insecurity is completely eradicated. You are told by the creator of the universe that you are safe.
You are unconditionally loved.
And you are internally secure. There is no more test to pass.
It is the absolute, unquestionable guarantee of peace.
It truly is. And you know, when you zoom out and look at the big picture of why all these specific sensory descriptions were given to us in the first place, it reveals something incredibly beautiful about the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
What's that?
He painted these vivid, comforting pictures for his companions with such immense empathy and warmth. He didn't just give them a list of harsh rules to follow, he gave them a vibrant, tangible hope.
Right.
He wanted them to visualize this reality so clearly that it would literally override their fear of death, so that when they faced impossible earthly struggles, persecution, extreme poverty, sickness, they wouldn't break. They could close their eyes and practically feel the silk. They could smell the musk. They could hear the rivers flowing.
He gave them a destination so magnificent that it made the agonizing earthly journey bearable.
Exactly. He anchored their hearts in eternity so the temporary world couldn't crush them.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Why take this specific deep dive today? Because this sensory, emotional, physical reality we just walked through, this is the ultimate goal.
It really is.
This is what you are actually striving for. Through every single prayer you force yourself to pray when you're exhausted, every act of patience when you want to scream, every silent sacrifice you make when absolutely no one else is looking.
It radically shifts how you view your current everyday struggles. When you truly internalize what is waiting for you just across that threshold, the earthly pain begins to lose its suffocating grip on you.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over today. We've talked a lot about the physical rewards, but think about the concept of time. In this world, time is essentially a predator. We're ruled by the clock.
Always running out of time.
Always running out of youth, rushing to the next task. Time is a weapon used against us. But in Jannah, eternity makes rushing completely obsolete. Time becomes a boundless canvas instead of a ticking clock.
That's a profound shift.
After the dwellers of Jannah receive all of this, the rivers, the garments, the lifting of the veil, their response isn't to frantically ask for more before time runs out. Their hearts are so entirely full and so at peace with eternity that the Qur'an says the close of their request will simply be, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praises and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of all that exists.
A state of pure, unhurried, eternal gratitude.
So, here is my question to you. If you know that eternity is waiting and that time will eventually stop rushing you, how does that change your relationship with the present moment today? If your first breath in Jannah is pure peace, what should your next breath in this world be? If time is no longer a weapon, how can you bring a little piece of that unhurried heavenly peace into your earthly life right now?
That is something to truly sit with.
It is. We want to thank you for taking this journey with us today. If you found a moment of clarity or peace in this exploration, we gently invite you to subscribe to Quiet Reflections so we can keep exploring these incredible narratives together. Until next time, take a deep breath and hold on to that hope.